Hi everyone, my name is Donald Cox and I'm a graduate student attending Grand Canyon University. I'm currently taking a class titled Curricular and Instructional Methods in Higher Education, and it's taught by Dr. Gary Hensley. What I'm having to do for this class is I'm having to record a video of me demonstrating the instructional practices that I've came up with or developed for a lesson. The lesson that I am going to base this off of is for an English 1 introductory class, and the lesson would be for professional communication. The instructional strategies that I will use or currently use, even as I teach now, I teach high school English 1 and English 2, is the Charlotte and Danielson framework model. This model is comprised of 5 general components. The components are an anticipatory set, which is also referred to as a brain engagement by me. You have the direct instruction, which is also called I do. You have the guided practice, which is the we do. You have the independent practice, which is the you do. And then you have the wrap up of the lesson, which is just the wrap up or closure. It usually might include an exit ticket of some sort. So going forward, I'm going to go ahead and do my best to act as if I'm in front of a class. I'm currently not, but I'm going to walk you through what I would do and how I kind of go through this on a day-to-day basis in my own class. So going forward, what I would do is I would start with my brain engagement or anticipatory set. And this is usually 5 to 7 minutes. What I would do is I would either have on the board or visible for the students in an online learning environment a prompt, and it would be to identify common examples of workplace communications. After about 2 to 3 minutes, because it would be timed, I would allow students 1 to 2 minutes to share. And this would be the group sharing, maybe a few students would get to share. Based off those examples that we came up with during the sharing, I might get the students together in groups quickly, 10, 20 seconds, or we might just quickly categorize the example workplace communications provided by students. Again, we don't want to take more than 5 to 7 minutes for this entire brain engagement. From there, I would go ahead and transition to the I do section or the direct instruction. For me, I always introduce my lesson objectives. So I would literally go over to where I have them posted or available for students to see, and those would be there for them to see. And our lesson objectives for a professional communication lesson are: explore workplace communication and how it varies between professions. The other is examine the components of professional communication. After I'd share those with the students, I'd go ahead and get them into groups quickly. I'd give them about 10 seconds. They find a partner. We're going to do a think, pair, share. You're going to identify connections between rhetoric and workplace communication that you're familiar with. And so I'd give those students maybe 2 minutes to do a think, pair, share on that. After their 2 minutes, they would have a minute to share, each group, what they had come up with. And based on those formulations, we would go ahead and explain the connection between workplace communication, most communication that takes place in general, and then rhetoric. From that point, after the direct communication or instruction, I would check for student questions and understanding. So I'd target question them. I would ask them, do you understand this? Do you understand certain aspects of what we've just discussed? Based on them, hopefully they do. I'm assuming they would. Then we would go into another think, pair, share to keep them engaged about a specific rhetorical method and its elements. So from there, they would again go ahead and have about a minute or two to do that. They would give us their rhetorical method and what it is comprised of. And then we would discuss as a class the similarities and differences of workplace communications between professions and situations in those professions. After we had a little discussion, I would check for student questions and understanding. From there, we would do the guided practice. So I would display a pre-selected workplace communication. I would divide students into groups of 3, and I'd provide students with 10 minutes to analyze that workplace communication to identify its rhetorical elements and how they function. After they get done doing that, I would allow each group 2 to 3 minutes to share their findings, and then I would go in and explain the independent activity direction for students. From there, I would check for student questions and understanding to ensure that everybody's on the same page, and then the students would be released to do their independent practice. From there, once the deadline's been compromised for that, we would go ahead and submit the completed work, and students might have a little exit ticket to show that they have retained some of that knowledge. So that's really what would happen. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video, and have a good day.